Like always, I hope all is going well for you. I'm doing pretty good because it's Valentine's Day. It's one of my favorite days of the year, in part because that's the day that Steven did put the ring on it, and we've been really happy together ever since. So it's Valentine's Day, which probably means a lot of you have also got engaged too. So congratulations. It's not the only journey in life, but it's definitely a really beautiful, fun one to go down with the person that you just love spending all your time with. So in honor of Valentine's Day, I thought I would go ahead and give you guys a couple quick tips when it comes to getting just the best engagement photos that you have or that you can get. You wouldn't have them already, but getting the best engagement photos you could possibly get. I know for me it was kind of hard because as well as I do behind the camera, I'm just completely nervous and a wreck in front of it. It's not easy for me to be in front of a camera, but I'm getting better at it. So I figured I'd share the tips that I give my clients and the tips that I use for myself and for my husband when we did our engagement photos. Ooh, almost 2 years ago now. First tip I would have is make sure you schedule your engagement photo shoot enough ahead of time so that you don't get stressed. And what I mean by that is if you're going to use your engagement photo shoots for the save the dates or for your invitations or for your website, you want to kind of make sure that you're doing that about a year to 6 months out from your wedding. That way you don't feel like you have to get your photos right after you get your shoot and have to get it all put together like within the week after you get your photos. That's just a lot of stress that you don't want to deal with. So what I recommend for my couples is that if you're going to schedule an engagement shoot, schedule it about a month to 2 months after you get engaged, maybe even 3 months depending on what your timetable is, but schedule it pretty soon after you get engaged. That way you can kind of take your time and relax and get the photos that you really want, and then use them in the way that you want and actually get the archival products like the save the dates actually professionally made and not running and trying to get it done yourself, because that can give someone a headache real quick. So the second tip would be to actually take the time to relax during your shoot. And I know this is probably going to be the hardest one for a lot of people because it seemed kind of impossible for me to relax because like one, like I said, I don't do well in front of the camera myself, and then two, it's like there's just so much going on. It's like, how do you relax? So I found it easiest if you take the time to get to know your photographer like as a friend, so you don't feel like there's a stranger following you around. You can kind of just relax and settle into your role of being the happy new fiance. And then also bringing music along with you. Most photographers are completely fine with you bringing a playlist with you. Some of us even carry around wireless speakers with us just for that, and just have your playlist going so you can be in the mood, your partner can be in the mood, and just mess around and be silly and just be who you are. Make sure you choose a location that's complementary to your wedding venue. You don't want it to be completely out there, but it's nice to have like a little story and a variety in the photos from both your engagement collection and your wedding collection. So for a lot of my clients who are getting married at a church, I'll tell them you probably want to go out to a park or a garden to go ahead and get your engagement photos done. That way it kind of balances out all the indoor heavy photos that you'll have. If you're getting married outside in a park, then I'll say you might want to do some cityscapes or beachscapes for your engagement shoots. Keep in mind, I do think going to multiple locations for your engagement shoot is a great idea. That's what we did, but choose 1 to 2 locations, or don't want to have like all these crazy locations done in a day because that takes up a lot of time, which means it's eating into the photos that you would be having for your collection, and no one wants that. Speaking about complimentary, don't dress matchy-matchy. Like that is how you get a disaster. So a lot of people think that when you're doing engagement photos you should look exactly like your partner, and that's not true. You should be showcasing who you guys truly are, and a lot of times that means you guys won't be wearing the same thing, but your guys' outfit should definitely complement each other. One partner is going to be wearing a very dressed up outfit. The other person should look dressed up as well. If one person's going to be dressed down, the other person's going to be dressed down. But it doesn't mean that you guys have to be wearing the same thing, if that makes sense. I suggest people look at a color wheel and pick opposite colors in the color wheel. That way they'll be much more of a balance against each other and can stand out. Speaking about standing out, dress to your location. So if you're on a beach, please don't come wearing a sweater unless you want to be sweltering hot, because that will make you miserable. But dress to your location so it's appropriate for your location, so you look like you belong in those photos. Remember, this shoot is all about you and who you guys are as a couple. So I encourage people to actually co-create with their photographers. And what I mean by this is, if you have an idea of how you want to portray yourself, like if there's props you want to bring along, talk to your photographer about it and set up something that is uniquely you. The more of you that you bring into these shoots, the more special and memorable it's going to be for you. And there's going to be something that you're going to want to show off. Like, I love my engagement photos. I love showing them off, and it's because we created just such a fun atmosphere where we can just be ourselves and show off who we are. And that's really what engagement photos are supposed to do. This is awkward because I just remembered what the other tip was that I was going to give. But the other tip I was going to give is practice unposing, which sounds weird, but unposing is the idea of you don't like just strike like, you know, random stiff poses, but it's more natural, fluid movements that are really organic, that come from interacting with you and your partner. So really take the time to like kind of set aside and use it as like a date, you know, like you're hanging out with the person that you love the most and you're getting photos with them. So take the time to kind of talk with them, get to know them, laugh, make jokes, be as natural and organic as possible. And that's really going to translate through in your photos and just give you some amazing photos that you may have never thought possible before. So I hope these tips were helpful for you when preparing for your engagement photography session. I do actually have a full comprehensive list of what you should do to get yourself prepared, as well as other ideas for engagement sessions. You can find it in the info box below, and there's also a downloadable PDF that you can take with you. It's all completely free. This is the same information I give my clients. I just found that when I was getting married, having this information was so useful for me, and I just want to kind of make sure that everyone else who may be in the same boat has that information too, because it made a world of difference for me. So if you like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Again, if you have any questions, I am collecting a whole bunch of wedding questions. If you have any wedding questions about, you know, how to find a wedding photographer, or, you know, just anything to deal with wedding photographies or anything to deal with weddings in general, I would love to answer those for you. You can go ahead and send me your questions at the email that's also in the info box, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Graduation, for my college graduation and for my wedding, like, having nice skin is so important when it comes to photos. And I know that all that stuff can be edited out and processed. Like, that is what I do. That is what I tell my clients, is if you're having a bad skin day, don't worry about it, can fix it in post. But it's really important going into a photo shoot that you feel your best and most beautiful and most confident, because that's really going to radiate out into the photo. I just have to show these. Aren't these beautiful? Like, Stephen hardly ever gives me anything because, I don't know, like, Valentine's Day is a special day for us because it's the day we got engaged, but you know, it's not necessarily one of those days where I feel like I have to get something for her, because I got a husband out of it. So whenever I get anything like this, it's just really special and meaningful. And I just think this bouquet is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, because I'm a spastic person, I got my Mylar balloons because I can't be around latex, but I got my Mylar balloons, which just makes me just a happy camper in general. Like, look at this! It's bigger than my face! I love it! So thank you, sweetie. It makes me really, really happy, things like this.